Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and this time we'll be talking about our March 2020 Nintendo Direct predictions. Now I understand, we've been talking about Directs happening all throughout the year, and we haven't gotten our general Nintendo Direct. Why believe us now? Why should it happen? Well, let me explain why. Because there are currently no known release dates for Nintendo published games beyond Animal Crossing's New Horizons. That comes out today, and I'm excited about it, but guess what? After that, there's nothing, and the investors are gonna really want some really good information about what's to come for the rest of the year, because the investors meeting is coming up at the end of the month, and Nintendo will need to offer up some sort of information in order for the investors to stay invested. So we have to get announcements about Nintendo games, at least with some release dates, really soon, hopefully in a Nintendo Direct next week. Now what you might find interesting is that recently we got a rumor from Jeff Grubb on VentureBeat saying that there would be two Nintendo Directs. One of them would be an Indies Direct, and another would be a general Nintendo Direct to happen around March 26th. Now guess what, guys? The Indies Direct did happen. Supposedly this person has inside information, so I am lending some credence to this actual rumor. I think it makes sense, especially considering that Nintendo pretty much has to make some new announcements by the end of the month because of the investors meeting. So I'm pretty confident in saying that there will be a Nintendo Direct next week. If it doesn't happen, I'm sorry, this is just a prediction, but I really feel like this is it. We are finally getting it, guys. It's going to happen. Now, I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a wonderful Nintendo Direct because it's going to outline what's going to happen throughout the year. We need to know about the big holiday game, or perhaps two big holiday games, because guess what? If you look at all throughout the Switch lineup, the different years, we already knew about the big holiday game by a March Nintendo Direct. So it kind of makes sense for it to happen this time around as well. Seriously, back in 2017, the big holiday games for Nintendo Switch were Super Mario Odyssey in October and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in December. Both these games were revealed the January of that year. In 2018, the big holiday game was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in December. That game was revealed in a March Nintendo Direct of that year. In 2019, the big holiday games were Pokemon Sword and Shield in November and Luigi's Mansion 3 in October. Both of these games were known quantities before even 2019 started. Granted, Sword and Shield didn't get a gameplay reveal until early on in 2019, but the point is, by April, for each particular year during the Switch era, we knew about the holiday games. So for 2020, I do not expect it to be any different. I think with this March Nintendo Direct, Nintendo's going to outline the rest of the year, and that's going to include the big holiday titles. Now, I've definitely been debating just how good of a year this is going to be, especially with the holiday lineup considering the whole COVID-19 situation, but I am going to be optimistic for my predictions here and hope that Nintendo gets things together, and for the most part this year is pretty much as they initially planned, and it's a very solid 2020. But it might not be, so let's definitely keep our expectations in check. And on the note of things not working out exactly as planned, let's first talk about this whole Smash DLC situation and how it could be delayed. So we're going to be taking a look at a translation of Sakurai's most recent column that was made by Cody Nicolo, or @Nokoluk on Twitter. Unfortunately, the virus has been restricting Sakurai's business trips. For example, trips to Nintendo and Kyoto. Trips to other companies have been problematic too. Planning new fighters, presenting to publishers, and having meetings have all been indefinitely postponed. And if more problems arise, he wonders if his offices might also be closed to prevent the spread of the virus. If that becomes the case, development would stop completely. Not only development, but Smash's foreign affairs like distribution, sales, and manufacturing are included in that. It's going to cost all the team's resources. To keep people in our building clean, we really have to take a break now. Please understand, this is the only way to get through this severe kind of time. So based off this translation, I feel like it's probably safe to say that we should probably not be expecting Smash DLC sooner than later. That all said, I'm not saying there is no hope at all that we won't get an announcement about Smash DLC soon. I think it's still possible we might see something during the Direct, but we shouldn't expect it. Now what am I referring to here? Well, Sakurai was talking about planning new fighters, presenting to publishers, and having meetings have all been indefinitely postponed. Here's the thing. What if there is a character that was already pretty far along at this point, and that character may be ready to be announced during this March Nintendo Direct? I think that's possible. I think they may have had enough development done beforehand, before the whole COVID-19 situation became too dramatic, that they could perhaps put together some sort of presentation or announcement for the next character in the Fighters Pass. But given the limitations provided by COVID-19, I am thinking that perhaps they will not have a third-party character to announce right now. Maybe that will be pushed off for another time, and instead they may have another Nintendo character that will be ready for this March Nintendo Direct to be announced. Now, who could that character be? Well, according to Jeff Grubb, this Direct will likely have a lot of ports and remasters, and supposedly there is one big remake that is right around the corner, and that remake is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. We saw some foreign online website listings suggesting it was coming out in May. There was the recent ESRB rating for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, so it does make sense for that game to perhaps be coming out sooner than later. I am thinking it may be coming out in May, and perhaps it will get a big focus during this big Nintendo Direct. And if that's the case, maybe there could be a Xenoblade character added to the Fighters Pass to help push Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Considering what happened with Byleth and how that helped to push Fire Emblem Three Houses, it wouldn't shock me if we get another Xenoblade character to sort of coincide with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Now, there's been a lot of demand for Rex and Pyra, so I'm going to go ahead and say that if we get a Xenoblade character, I'm going to assume it's Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think that could work out. It's possible we could get another Xenoblade 1 character, but a lot of the Xenoblade 1 characters are already featured in Shulk's Final Smash, except for, say, Melia. So unless it's Melia from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 as the next Smash rep, I'm thinking it's going to be Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because initially Sakurai did want them in the game, but they didn't make it in due to time constraints. But during the second Fighters Pass, I am thinking it's possible that Rex and Pyra could make the cut. But again, let me stress that considering that Sakurai is talking about major delays to Smash development because of COVID-19, I am prepared to not get a Smash announcement during this Nintendo Direct, but I'm going to be optimistic and hope that we maybe get something. We will see. But going beyond Smash and Xenoblade, what else could we perhaps see? Well, I am expecting some different ports and remasters, and one I have in mind is Pikmin 3. You see, Pikmin 3 has been alluded to by a lot of insiders already. For example, Per Schneider, if you watch his podcast on IGN, NVC, he seems to have alluded to it on a couple occasions, and it has been rumored by other sources as well, and it kind of makes sense as a Wii U port. It's a game that didn't give as much love and attention as it deserved on Wii U. It's a fantastic game that I think could be reworked very nicely for the Nintendo Switch, and it would be a great way to start building up hype for hopefully an eventual Pikmin 4 announcement maybe sometime next year. So I am thinking we will see a Pikmin 3 port announcement during this Nintendo Direct. And continuing the thought process on different potential ports, I am thinking that we're going to be getting other third-party ports, some really big cool ones. Now, we recently got a rating for BioShock Collection on the Nintendo Switch, so I am thinking during this Nintendo Direct, we will get an announcement for BioShock Collection for the Nintendo Switch. I think that'll be a really awesome third-party port to have, and I think that'll be fantastic. Now, on the note of other third-party games coming to the Nintendo Switch, moving past ports, I am thinking we're going to get more information on No More Heroes 3 and Bravely Default 2. Those are two really cool-looking games that I think could help very nicely fill out the year, so I am thinking we will get more information on those games, perhaps even get release windows for them. We've been talking about ports and remasters, but what about something new? I am personally thinking we will get some new Nintendo game announcements during this Nintendo Direct, and there have been some rumors giving us an idea of what perhaps that could be. Now, I am thinking we will get an announcement for Paper Mario. It's been a few years since the last Paper Mario. I am thinking it's right about time to get an announcement for a new one. Maybe we'll wait off on the whole Super Mario Odyssey 2, the next big 3D Mario game, for perhaps next year, and then maybe this year instead to get our sort of Mario fix. It's the next big Paper Mario game. I think that could be pretty nice. Supposedly, it could be a return to form for the series. I'm excited about this. But there's a couple more things that I'm even more excited about than Paper Mario, and one of them is Metroid. Now, I am not expecting Metroid Prime 4 to be shown off to any capacity during this Nintendo Direct. Maybe sometime later in the year if we're really lucky, but no Metroid Prime 4 stuff, and maybe Metroid Prime Trilogy, but that's not what I'm thinking we're going to be seeing during this Nintendo Direct. I'm actually thinking we're going to be seeing a 2D Metroid announcement, and I'm thinking it's not going to be a remake of Fusion or Super Metroid, but rather a whole new 2D Metroid game. Yes, finally, I think we're going to be getting Metroid 5. And for those who are confused, there's a 2D Metroid and then there's a Metroid Prime series. Metroid Prime 4 is not right before Metroid 5. Two different things. Metroid 5 would be a continuation of the 2D Metroid series going beyond Metroid Fusion, which is Metroid 4. So, Metroid 5, I think, could actually be announced during this Nintendo Direct. And if it's not Metroid 5, maybe it will be a 2D Metroid remake of either Super Metroid or Metroid Fusion. Those would be fine. If I had to rank them in terms of my potential excitement here, Metroid 5 would be the coolest thing, Metroid Fusion remake would be pretty good, and then a remake of Super Metroid would be okay, but I don't really think that's necessary. Another series that we've been waiting for a very long time that we want some updates on is Bayonetta. Kamiya has continually said that development is going very well for Bayonetta 3. We haven't seen anything since its announcement back at the end of 2017 in the Game Awards. This is 2020, you gotta think that if they had a sort of teaser trailer for Bayonetta 3 at the end of 2017, sometime in 2020, we're bound to at least get some sort of gameplay or trailer for the game. So I'm thinking, considering that this March Nintendo Direct is going to be outlining all the big games throughout the year in my opinion, Bayonetta 3 is going to be one of them. We're finally going to see it in this March Nintendo Direct. So, as I was talking about earlier in the video, I am thinking this March Nintendo Direct will have to outline the entire year, or at least give us the big ones. And if you look at the history of the Switch, we knew about the big holiday titles for that year before April. I don't think this year is going to be any different. I'm thinking this March Nintendo Direct will tell us what those games will be. And that's right, I said games. I don't think it's just going to be one. I'm thinking it's going to be at least two for the holiday time. Two major Nintendo games. If there's like a smaller third title, that'll be fine too, but two major ones. Now, what could those major ones be? Well, there have been some rumors talking about a potential new Mario Kart game. I'm not sure if it makes the utmost sense for there to be a new Mario Kart game considering we just got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it's the best-selling game on Switch. It's still selling really well. There may not be a need for another new Mario Kart game, but at the same time, while I would prefer Nintendo to focus on another racing series, Mario Kart is definitely their hardest-hitting racing series, and with the next generation coming out at the end of the year with both Xbox Series X and PS5, Nintendo's gonna definitely want to have some really big games. Mario Kart is a big game just like that, and if you take into consideration that while we have always just had one Mario Kart per platform all throughout the years, we've also always gotten at least two Mario Karts per generation, but with this generation, Nintendo's just focusing on one platform. So it's a unique situation, so maybe Nintendo may see that it makes sense to have a new Mario Kart game, and if you consider that Mario Kart Tour, the Mario Kart mobile game, is going strong right now, it came out recently, Nintendo may want to sort of try and take advantage of that and put out a whole new Mario Kart game on Switch. The thing about Nintendo mobile games, they have this tendency to boost the main series when the next entry of that series comes out. When Pokemon Go came out, Pokemon Sun had record-breaking numbers a few months afterwards. So I am thinking Nintendo may try to capitalize on that with a new Mario Kart game this year on the Nintendo Switch, especially considering the rumors. So how could this Mario Kart game be? Well, I'm thinking the Mario Kart game could maybe be called Super Mario Kart World, and the world would imply that this would be a more grander, more ambitious Mario Kart game that will be more encompassing of different Nintendo characters, kind of what they sort of already started doing with the DLC in Mario Kart 8, but they'll expand upon that even more so. But also, maybe they'll integrate some of the ideas from Diddy Kong Racing, and there'll actually be a hub world or more exploration so we can get a better understanding and feel of the Mario Kart world. And I think something along those lines will help to set this new Mario Kart game apart from the previous Mario Kart game. And I think it makes sense, and people are going to really love Mario Kart, and I'll admit that even while I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I definitely want more Mario Kart content, and at this point, it probably can't be DLC, so give me a whole new Mario Kart game. I think that could be a great fit for one of the two big holiday titles that I think are coming out at the end of the year. But what about the other big holiday game that I've been alluding to? I've been saying there's going to be two. What's the other one? Well, a potential Mario Kart World would definitely make sense for a multiplayer sort of thing, but I also think we should get something that's a big single-player adventure. And what could that be? Well, arguably Nintendo's best single-player experience that they can offer, and that is The Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild 2 was announced last E3. I am thinking this game could be ready, assuming that there's no COVID-19 related delays. If that's the case, I am thinking this game will be shown off again in the March Nintendo Direct, and they may confirm a holiday 2020 release. both Zelda and Mario Kart would be a really good 1-2 combo punch to help deal with the next generation of systems coming out this year. I think it could happen. I'm optimistic. If COVID-19 has not led to delays of these products, I think they will happen this year. Now, to help back up my claim for Zelda coming out this year, there have been multiple rumors coming from different places. Pixelpar seems to have been alluding to it with his art, but it could just be him just making art for fun, but he has a history of teasing things with his art in the past, so maybe there's that. There's this other rumor coming from a sketchy place, but they've gone other things right in the past, and they're saying we're going to be seeing both Metroid and Zelda during the Direct. Maybe it will happen. But not to mention, there have been rumors going on and off talking about Zelda maybe coming, maybe not happening, going all the way back to last year. But I also want to point out this video I made a while ago talking about all the reasons why I think Breath of the Wild 2 could come out in 2020. But again, that is all dependent upon if Nintendo has all of their development going swimmingly, going well, and COVID-19 doesn't greatly impact them. It may. So for that reason, I'm not 100% sure this will happen or even super confident about it, but I have hope that it could happen. So I am thinking this Direct could perhaps something along the lines of maybe a Smash DLC announcement, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, a Pikmin 3 port, No More Heroes 3, Bravely Default 2, an announcement for Bioshock Collection, a new Paper Mario game, a new 2D Metroid, Bayonetta 3 finally getting shown off in gameplay form, perhaps a new Mario Kart, maybe it'll be called Super Mario Kart World, and the big one, the one I'm most excited about for this year hopefully, and that is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of the best games ever made in my opinion. I think this could be great, I think it could happen, but let's keep our expectations in check. We won't know for sure until we even get this Direct announced and then we see it and see what Nintendo has to offer for 2020. But those are just my thoughts on what I think we could see during this Nintendo Direct. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with my opinions or do you think it could be something different? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening and watching everyone. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like. But that's all for now. Take care. Bye.